Hello again. My name's Anna Schmidt and I'm a house healer and a psychic development teacher. And today I'd like to talk to you about the Akashic Records, what it is, where it is, how you can access it, and what you're going to get from accessing the Akashic Records. So the Akashic Records is a great hall which is said to reside in the Angelic Realm. So whether this is the 6th dimension or the 8th dimension, depending on what you believe in, the Akashic Records holds the soul books for every single living person through every lifetime that they have lived. When people cross over, they get to go to the Akashic Records as part of their journey before they enter into the great beyond or move into another lifetime. They get to review the lessons that they have learned during this lifetime. When psychics talk to people's spirit guides, angels, archangels, the information that is given to the psychic comes from the Akashic Records. It is like a universal library that stores all the information from every person's lifetime that they have ever lived. And you can actually train yourself through a simple process, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, to access your own Akashic record. It's possible for you to ask a question and actually go to your Akashic record book and receive an answer. You can't go to somebody else's book and request information for them, but you can look at your own book to get guidance about a particular situation, a particular struggle you have at the moment. You just really don't know where to go or what to do. This is something that you can do for yourself. So how to connect using a simple meditation method. So the first thing that you're going to do before you do any spiritual practice, you're always going to do your grounding and your protection technique. Really, really important. When you leave your body in a spiritual way to connect with universal energy, your physical body needs to be grounded into the earth. So you use your grounding practice and you use your protection practice to protect your energy field from other influences. Because as you go out into the universe to look at your Akashic record book, you may come across other energies that they're just going to be around. They're always there. If you've heard me talk about this in other videos that I've done, there are spirits everywhere. And there are energies that will be curious at what you're doing, and there'll be other energies that may be a little bit more mischievous. So you use your protection method. You ask your guides, angels, archangels to give you extra protection while you're on the journey. They will be with you anyway. So you're going to do your grounding and your protection. So the next part of the process is to sit quietly, no distractions, and do this when it is the best time of the day for you. So first thing in the morning, last thing at night, when you're not going to be distracted, when your mind's not worried, when you're not thinking about all the daily stuff that we think about. Okay, so once you've done your grounding and your protection, get yourself relaxed and just in a meditative state. You can center in your heart space if you want to. I find I like to do that because I think of the heart as the soul connection to the universe. So you can visualize yourself going down in an elevator, down into your heart space and just sitting in your heart. Then what you're going to do is you're going to verbalize out loud your intent for your connection to the Akashic Records today. So you're going to say what it is that you want to go looking for. I always suggest to people to have something written down in front of them, have the question written out, make it specific. It's got to be specific. If it's too broad, you're going to get a broad answer. So have a specific question. By verbalizing the request out loud, you're putting out the vibration into the universe about what you want. That is an important part of creating the intention around getting your answer. So you're in your meditative state, you've settled down in your heart space down here. You verbalized your question. Now I'm going to give you an example of how I see my Akashic record. Now for you it's going to be different, but I'll give you an example of how I see mine, which is really, really interesting. And then you will find that your experience will be different, and that is perfectly okay, because we are all individuals, all doing things in our own individual psychic way. So I center myself. I always see myself as a child when I meet with the archangels, meet with the spirit guide, and meet with my Akashic record attendant, as I call them. It's almost like I'm the third person in the group. I see myself, which is it's really interesting. I can't explain why that happens, but I always see myself in a childlike state when I go to the Akashic records and meet with my spirit guides. I suppose that's my inner child coming out. So when you're ready and I ask to go to this place, I see the Akashic records as being in a large building. So I go to a building and it has a red door. Now I haven't made up this myself. It's not something that I have designed. It is just what I see. This is what I saw many, many years ago when I started visiting the Akashic records. It's a beautiful white building with a red door, gardens, roses, benches, beautiful, just a beautiful, peaceful, calm place. So I wander up to this door in my childlike state and I knock on the door. It'll be opened by a guide, angel, archangel. Generally your guide, angel or archangel, they'll be there waiting for you because they know what you're doing. I walk down the corridor. So as there is a red door, there is also red carpet, which is really interesting. So I just walk down the hallway. There's many, many doors, some open, some closed on either side, but I'm looking straight ahead as I'm walking down through this great hallway. I come to a door that opens into a garden. And on the left-hand side, there's a fountain. And on the right-hand side, there is another larger door, like a bifold, like a really large open door. So I go down the stairs and I knock on this door and I wait for someone to come. Now, my archangel attendant who helps me with this is one of the archangels I work with all the time, Archangel Azrael. He is said to be one of the attendants that works with or cares for the Hall of Records, the Akashic Hall of Records. So I will go in with him and I just walk until I'm told to stop. Now, my first viewing of my Akashic record was rather interesting. I expected a book that I would open and flip the pages. I would have this book open and I would read the writing. It was totally different. It was like a book because in my humanness, I would expect it to be a book. So they presented in a way initially that we are going to understand. So this book literally floated off the shelf, opened in front of me. But there wasn't writing on the pages. It was like a glowing ball of golden energy. And I literally put my face in it. And I saw my Akashic records as a type of movie, like moving images. And I asked with my intent what I was looking for, like an answer to a particular situation. And I would see it being played out in front of me, just like I was watching a movie. And I found this very relaxing and very calming and easy to remember because I'm a very visual person. They've presented it to me in a visual way. If you're someone who's very auditory, you may hear an audio book. You may go and you're there and you don't actually have a book. They just plug something into a DVD player or a voice recorder and you're going to hear what you need to do. Okay, so some people see, some people hear in these situations. You might go and get your book. And I've seen some people, well, they've actually explained it to me this way. They've been to the Akashic Records, their book has floated off the shelf, and they've literally put their hand on the book, and they just know the information. So depending on what your skill is and the way that you're going to remember the information is how it's going to be given to you. So when I was finished viewing my book, I just came out of it and the book closed, put itself back on the shelf, and I left the building. And I always say thank you. You always show respect to your guides, angels, archangels as you were leaving. And I left the building back the same way I came, up the stairs, along the red carpet, and I waved goodbye in a childlike way, as a child would do, and shut the door, and I merrily skipped back to the gate. Now, the gate for me, I didn't mention that to start with, I'm sorry, that is just shown itself to me. I went to the gate, and closing the gate actually brings me out of my meditative state. And what I did when I sat there was I just sat quietly, just slowly deep breathing to get myself back into my body. Because when you have gone on a spiritual journey, which is what you do when you visit the Akashic Records, you are going to be slightly disorientated when you come back into your body. So you need to just sit, recalibrate, just relax, and just say to yourself, I am grounded in my body. I am grounded in my body. Then what I like to do is to write down what I've seen. Sometimes I draw pictures. Sometimes I'll go and I'll get a symbol. Like I'm tracing on the table now, because I went to the Akashic Records very recently. And I saw a symbol of a spiral. It's all about spirals at the moment. So I'm tracing this spiral. So the meaning of the spiral has something really important for me at the moment on my journey. So I will write down the details. I'll then just be observant around me as to how that information comes into play in my daily life. Now, another way people like to work with the Akashic Records is they don't actually physically want to have to go there, but they can sit and say a prayer and ask their archangels to actually get the information for them and to present it to them in their mind. So just show them, what do I need to be doing right now? I'm really stuck in this particular situation. I find when I read for clients, the information is instant. Because you're working with a client who has given permission, you are given permission, and their guides will bring you the information from their Akashic record. It is like a massive library that stores all the information that has ever been, and you can access it instantly. The more practice you do, the quicker it is. So I find now that I don't go into a childlike state. This was when I was probably, I don't know, in my early 30s. Now I go to the door and I'm instantly there. And the information is given so quickly, it's like in and out really, really quickly. But that has come through probably a 10-year practicing process. So getting information from the Akashic Records is very personal information about yourself. No one else can access it unless you go to a reader who is given access by your spirit guides. So this is something that you can use as another source of support, another source of getting help and assistance and guidance. And the more you practice, the easier it is for you to do. I find I go to the Akashic Records now probably once a week, whereas when I was younger, I was practicing every morning through my meditative process. I would go to the door, the red carpet, go to the other door, talk to my guides, build that relationship. When you have that relation, you are going to be able to access it much quicker because they're right. Yep, she's coming. I've got the information. There it is, ready to go for you. So I hope you found this process interesting today. I hope you found it useful. It's something that you can do when you need assistance, when you need guidance. If you like what I do, please feel free to subscribe. Put a comment in. Let me know how you're going with working with your Akashic Records. If you have a question, let me know. I'd be happy to answer any questions. So thank you very much for coming today, and I hope you've enjoyed what I've talked about, and I will be doing many more videos. So I look forward to seeing you soon.